phone rang at the rescue center. Someone told the rescuer about small kittens hiding in park bushes near a busy road. Their mother was nowhere to be seen. The caller was worried the kittens might get hurt by cars. The rescuer packed some towels, a carrier box, kitten milk, then left right away. At the park, the rescuer walked to where the kittens were seen. Cars zoomed by on the nearby road, making lots of noise. He got down on his knees to look in the thick bushes. At first, he didn't see anything. Then he noticed something small moving in the shadows. It was a tiny kitten crawling through the leaves, trying to hide. The rescuer reached in slowly and gently picked up the kitten. It was so small it fit in his hand. The baby kitten's eyes were barely open. He placed it in the plastic box he brought, which had soft cloth inside to keep the kitten warm. He kept looking in the bushes, knowing kittens usually have brothers and sisters. Soon he found 3 more tiny kittens hidden nearby. One by one, he picked them up and put them with the first kitten in the box. They snuggled together for warmth. Just as he was about to leave, the rescuer saw more kittens a little farther away. These kittens were older and bigger than the first group. They could run around and were hiding when they saw the man. These kittens needed help too. It was harder to catch these bigger kittens. They ran between trees and bushes. The rescuer had to be quick. He followed one under a bench, another behind a trash can, and caught others as they tried to run into thicker bushes. He put each one in his rescue bag, keeping them separate from the tiny babies in the box. It took almost an hour, but finally, the rescuer caught all the kittens he could find. He looked around one more time to make sure he hadn't missed any. The smallest kittens needed urgent care because they couldn't eat regular food yet. The older kittens were skinny and hungry, but more active. During the drive back to the rescue center, the kittens made small meowing sounds. The rescuer drove carefully and talked softly to the kittens. His gentle voice seemed to calm them down, and they meowed less as they drove. When they arrived at the rescue center, the rescuer first took care of the smallest kittens. He put them on a soft, warm blanket in a quiet corner. These tiny babies would need to be fed with a bottle every few hours. They were too young to use the bathroom on their own and would need help with that too. The rescuer checked each kitten for any signs of sickness or hurt. The older kittens went into a different cage with soft bedding and some simple toys. They were old enough to use a litter box, which the rescuer provided. He gave them small dishes with water and soft kitten food soaked in warm water to make it easier to eat. At first, these kittens hissed because they were scared, but soon they started exploring their new home. In another part of the rescue center was a mother cat who had recently raised her own kittens. She and her babies watched the newcomers with interest. The rescuer knew that sometimes mother cats will take care of orphaned kittens, but this had to be done carefully and only if the kittens were healthy. For now, the tiny kittens needed human care. The rescuer made kitten formula milk and warmed it up. Using small feeding syringes, he fed each of the smallest kittens, holding them in the right way so milk wouldn't go into their lungs. He would need to do this every few hours, day and night, until they were old enough to eat by themselves. The older kittens were more afraid of humans. The rescuer gave them space but sat nearby, talking softly and offering treats so they would learn that people can be nice. Over time, they would need to get used to people to become good pets for adoption. After feeding, the rescuer made sure all kittens were clean and comfortable. The smallest ones needed help staying clean, so he gently wiped them with a warm, damp cloth, just like a mother cat would lick her babies clean. The older kittens watched from their hiding spots in their cage. As evening came, the rescue center got quiet. The rescuer got ready for a long night of feeding the youngest kittens every few hours. This was the hardest part of kitten rescue, taking care of the tiniest ones all night long, but seeing them grow stronger each day made it worth missing sleep. The next morning, the rescuer checked all the kittens again. The tiny ones had made it through their first night, which was always the most dangerous time. They seemed a little stronger already. The older kittens had eaten most of their food and used the litter box, showing they had lived with their mother long enough to learn these things. During the day, helpers came to the rescue center. Some made formula and fed the babies, while others played with the older kittens to help them get used to people. Each kitten was weighed, and notes were kept about how much they ate, used the bathroom, and how they looked overall. It was important to catch any problems early. The mother cat kept watching the new kittens. The rescuer decided to let her visit the older kittens while he watched closely. She walked up to their cage slowly, smelling them and watching them play. The kittens were unsure at first, but soon got curious about this adult cat who didn't seem scary. After a few visits with the rescuer watching, the mother cat was allowed into the older kitten's cage. Everyone was happy when she started cleaning the kittens with her tongue, treating them like her own babies. This was very good because the kittens would learn important cat behaviors from her that humans can't teach. The tiny babies were still too young to meet the mother cat, but they were growing stronger every day. Their eyes were opening wider, and they moved around more between feedings. In a week or two, they might be ready to meet the mother cat too. By the end of the day, all the kittens were doing better. The youngest ones were drinking their milk more eagerly, the older ones were less afraid of humans, and having the mother cat help with the older kittens was a big plus. In just one day, these kittens went from being in danger in bushes to being safe and cared for. That night, as the rescuer got ready to feed the kittens again, he thought about what would happen to them in the future. In a few weeks, the older ones would get fixed so they couldn't have babies, and then they would be ready for adoption. The tiny ones had a longer way to go, but they too would grow into playful, healthy cats ready for forever homes. The work was tiring, but made the rescuer feel good. Each rescue day was different, but the goal was always the same: to give these animals a chance at a happy life they wouldn't have had otherwise. As he held the first tiny kitten for the night feeding, the rescuer knew that saving these lives was worth all the hard work. More helpers would come tomorrow. The animal doctor would visit to check all the kittens and give them needed medicines. The cycle of rescue would continue, not just for these kittens, but for many more animals in need. The rescuer smiled as the tiny kitten in his hands finished its milk and fell asleep, safe and warm. The kittens had survived against big odds. With good care, proper food, and lots of love, they would grow into healthy cats who would never again know the dangers of living on the streets. Some would become family pets. Others might become barn cats helping to catch mice. But all would have the chance at a better life because someone cared enough to call for help, and a rescuer cared enough to save them. This was just one day of animal rescue. One day that changed everything for these small lives. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and maybe new rescues, but for now, the kittens slept peacefully with bright futures ahead of them. The tiny paws that once struggled through bushes would soon be playing with toys, climbing cat trees, and eventually finding their way into loving homes. For the rescuer, this story would happen many times throughout the year. Spring and summer brought many litters born outdoors to stray cats. Each rescue taught lessons and had its own challenges. Some kittens would need more medical care, others more time to get used to people, but the basic needs were the same: safety, warmth, food, and gentle handling. The rescue center had ways to handle the many kittens that came in. Foster homes helped when space was tight, volunteers covered feeding shifts, and social media helped find adopters. It was truly a team effort with many people playing different but important roles. As days passed, the kittens from the park would grow and change. The smallest ones would open their eyes fully, start walking better, and eventually learn to eat from dishes. The older ones would become more comfortable with being handled by people and begin to purr when petted. Each small step forward would make the rescuer and helpers happy. The mother cat would continue to help, showing the kittens how to clean themselves, how to play nicely without hurting each other, and many other things that only cats can teach other cats. Her help made the kittens more ready for adoption and better adjusted. For the kittens found in the park bushes on that day, their story had a happy beginning. From danger to safety, from hunger to plenty, from being alone to being loved. This is what rescue is all about. And for the rescuer, there could be no greater reward than seeing these once helpless creatures grow strong and bring joy to others. The kittens had been lucky. Many stray cats and kittens aren't found in time. That's why the rescue center also worked to fix stray cats so they couldn't have more kittens. They tried to teach people about the importance of spaying and neutering their pets. Each rescue was important, but preventing unwanted litters was even better. At the rescue center, every animal had a name, a file, and people who cared. The tiny kittens from the bushes would soon have names too. Naming them was a sign they were no longer just stray kittens. They were individuals with futures and potential. Names like Whiskers, Mittens, Shadow, and Sunny would replace the tiny kitten from the bushes. As the days turned into weeks, the rescued kittens reached new milestones. The tiny ones started eating solid food mixed with formula. The older ones learned to come when called and enjoyed being petted. Potential adopters began to visit, looking for new family members. The rescue center made sure each kitten went to a home that was ready for the responsibility of a pet for its whole life. The rescuer often thought about how different things would have been if that first caller hadn't noticed the kittens or hadn't bothered to call. Those tiny lives might have been lost to hunger, cold, or cars on the nearby road. Instead, they were thriving, playing, and bringing smiles to everyone who met them. This is why rescue matters. This is why the rescuer answered calls at all hours, lost sleep feeding tiny kittens, and worked so hard. For every happy ending, for every kitten who went from frightened and hungry to confident and loved, it was all worth it. One day, one rescue at a time, making the world better for those who can't speak for themselves.